What's up, y'all? My name is Lynette Williams. I am a keyboard player, and I tour the world with amazing artists, and I'm going to tell you about my touring rig. So right here in front of me is the Korg Kronos. This is my main board. This is the meat right here. This is what sets the prototype for my other boards. We'll get into those boards in a minute. But what I play on this board, I play this board with Childish Gambino. I play it with Lizzo. I play it with Lalah Hathaway. They're different artists, but it just shows you how many facets there are with this board. So with Lalah, I play mainly Rhodes, piano, organ sounds. With Childish Gambino, you'll hear more synthy sounds that are more true to the record. Like Summertime Magic, I'll play the steel drum. On his song Redbone, you'll hear me playing the strings. This is my meat and potatoes board. I play every type of main sound you can think of. So Rhodes, piano, strings, organ. That's here. Some synth too. As you can tell, this is my favorite board, but there's also some other really cool boards that I play. I play a King Korg, which is, to me, is like a more synthy, out there sound. So there's a song that we played called All Night with Childish Gambino, and I actually played a vocoder through that keyboard. It's really cool. You can hook up a mic to the back of the keyboard, and there's an actual vocoder patch that I push on there, and then it sounds like a vocoder. There's also the cool thing about that board is it can play itself, meaning it's a MIDI board. The sound guy, what he does is he'll put a MIDI cord on the back of the King Korg, and I'll pre-record some parts because, like I said, I only have 2 arms, and that's me actually playing the song when you hear it play through the box, but I just played it ahead of time. And he MIDI'd it to where it clocks into the song, it clocks into the tempo, and it plays it live. It's the coolest thing ever. And then one thing I love about the King Korg, it stands up to its name. So that's one of my favorite boards as well. The King Korg is more of, think of it as an analog board, but it's also a workstation board. Speaking of analog, we'll go to the next board on my rig, which is the Prologue. The Prologue is one of the newer boards that Korg has presented a few years ago, and it's so awesome. You know, someone who's more of a workstation keyboard player, that was, to me, my favorite analog board because it was easy for me to understand. I'm playing a lot of sounds live. There's a song that we play live with Childish Gambino. It's called Sweatpants. On the Prologue, there's a bass synth that I double with the bass player, and it sounds, just think death metal rock, like, it's like very aggressive, and I'm changing the cutoff. There's a cutoff knob on the Prologue, and I feel like a mad scientist. I'm like, it opens up the sound, so I'm going, and when you turn it, down, it closes the tone. There's so many videos of me, when you see me headbanging, most of the time I'm probably playing the Prologue. The Prologue is probably, out of the 3 boards in my rig, it's probably the least used. I play maybe 4 songs on it, but it's such an intricate board. There's such intricate sounds, and it just depends on the artist. So I do use the Prologue also with Lizzo. I don't use it with Lalah Hathaway, but I want to get back to the main rig, which is the Kronos. And as I was telling you, sweatpants, to show you the different assignments for each board, on my Prologue, I'm playing that deep bass sound that I told you about. But here, I play the main sound, the meat and potatoes of the song. And it's just a glockenspiel sound, but it's a glockenspiel sound that I added some reverb to, added the highs, and I took the lows down, so it sounds like this. And it's just that simple. Like, just to give you another idea of this being my main board and what I mean when I say main board, I can play a Rhodes sound. And then go to the piano family. Same song. Right? And then I created some pretty cool string sounds. There's so many different string sounds, both in combi mode and program mode. But one of my proudest string sounds that I just created recently, I just played a show in Florida with this theater company. And the name of the show was called Sisters in the Name of Soul. And we did a lot of Motown sounds. And one of my favorite sounds that I did, it's called the Velvety Strings. That is actually the factory sound, but I beefed it up. And what I did was, like I said, always start with an EQ. I went into the EQ and I brought the highs down. Most strings you hear, they're really high on the high end. And I wanted to do something different that was kind of a warmer strings. And this is what it sounds like. Which is really cool, right? But then I have my red bone strings that I play with Childish Gambino, and it's 2 octaves in one. So rather, when I'm hitting F, you're gonna hear that octave, and you're also gonna hear an octave higher. So it's a dual sound. So you hear that high. So when I play red bone, you just hear me hit the high C, but you're hearing not only, I think this is like C5 and C6. So you hear 2 octaves. And that's all you hear. And the cool thing is I could play chords with this too. So I love this board, and this is my favorite board, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me share a little bit of you of some of my favorite rigs. So you guys, thank you so much for hanging with me. I hope you guys enjoyed me sharing my rigs and some of my favorite keyboards that I play with Lizzo and Childish Gambino. And who knows, maybe one day it'll be Sting. We don't know, my lips are God's ears. But thank you so much for spending this time with me.